What if I told you that the secret to fighting cancer and inflammation could be right in your kitchen? Today, we are uncovering the powerful anti inflammatory foods that not only taste good, but they can actually calm down your body's hidden fires. So let's dive into day 53 of our proven cancer strategies revealed 90 days to cancer resilience series. What are anti inflammatory foods? So these are natural whole foods filled with antioxidants, phytochemicals, and healthy fats that help reduce inflammation. I want to say chronic inflammation. This is the type of inflammation that quietly simmers in your body and can increase your risk of cancer. Think of the foods as your body's firefighters coming in to put out the inflammation before it causes any damage. And I want to answer a question that came up yesterday. Are there certain parts of our body that are either more prone to inflammation or less prone to inflammation, or maybe don't get inflammation at all? And the answer is yeah, certain parts of our body is more prone to inflammation, especially places where there are frequent exposure to toxins or injury. Some of those places include the digestive tract and our joints. These are common hotspots because they're constantly being exposed to things like food, environmental toxins, and physical stress. Now, our organs, like our liver, can also become inflamed when overloaded with toxins. On the other hand, other hand, areas with fewer blood vessels and less exposure to toxins, like some parts of the brain or tissues in certain glands, can be less prone to inflammation. However, chronic inflammation anywhere can lead to serious health issues, and that's why managing it is so important. So, we are going to cover the top anti inflammatory foods that you should be eating daily. So, let's talk about these foods that you should be adding to your plate to fight inflammation. We know these are the top anti inflammatory foods because they have extensively been studied in scientific research and consistently show significant benefits in reducing markers of inflammation. And some of them include C reactive protein or CRP, which we've talked about. There's also tumor necrosis factor, which is TNF, and interleukin 6, which is IL 6, which are common factors and indicators of chronic inflammation in the body. And so here are the top foods on the list. Number one is berries. They are rich in antioxidants like flavonoids, which are known to neutralize free radicals that contribute to inflammation. Research has consistently shown that berries reduce CRP levels, which is one of those key markers of inflammation. Next on our list is our leafy greens. Vegetables like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are loaded with vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin K, all of which have been shown to reduce anti inflammatory markers in the body. Studies have indicated that diets high in leafy greens are associated with lower levels of inflammation, and that means a reduced risk of chronic diseases like cancer. Then there are the omega 3 fatty acids, which are found in foods like walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, and these omega 3s have been well documented for their ability to reduce inflammation. Research shows that they can lower levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines and help to balance the body's inflammatory response, especially in the heart and brain. Turmeric, which has and the active compound in turmeric is curcumin, is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatories. And numerous studies have shown its ability to block inflammation at the molecular level, specifically by inhibiting the pathways that is, it's the NF-KB pathway, which is a major regulator of inflammation. Ginger is known for its potent anti-inflammatory effects, and it reduces inflammation similarly to what NSAIDs do. That's things like aspirin or ibuprofen, but this is naturally, and scientific studies have shown that ginger can decrease levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, and it improves symptoms of inflammatory conditions like arthritis. So ginger obviously is a good a good thing. Moving on, we have garlic, which contains sulfur compounds like allicin, which helps to modulate the immune system and lower inflammation. Studies have shown that garlic consumption can reduce CRP and TNF levels, making it an excellent anti-inflammatory food. Moving on, this one was a little bit of a surprise that extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleocanthal, which is a compound that has similar effects to ibuprofen in reducing inflammation. And research has shown that regular consumption of extra virgin olive oil can lower inflammatory markers and promote heart health by reducing arterial inflammation. But you need to make sure that it's pure and it's extra virgin olive oil. And what that means is you want to try to find organic, but it's cold pressed olive oil. It is not refined. And there have been some notes that our olive oil is getting, I guess, what can I say? Olive oil is one of these things that is being cut, if you will, and that means that other products are being added to it that are making it not pure extra virgin olive oil. One way to tell that you have real authentic olive oil is if it's chilled, it will be very murky looking. And if it's not murky, then you may want to look at getting a different olive oil. Now, moving on, our last note on our high anti-inflammatory foods is nuts, including almonds and walnuts, and they are high in healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants. And nuts help to reduce inflammation and improve overall health. And studies have shown that people who consume nuts regularly have lower levels of CRP and other inflammatory markers. The trick with nuts is to make sure you're not getting too many. You want to be moderate on your intake of nuts. All right, so these are the foods that are on the list of the high anti-inflammatories. They are backed by clinical trials and observational studies that consistently show their effectiveness in reducing inflammation and supporting our long-term health. Incorporating these foods into your daily diet can have a meaningful impact on managing chronic inflammation. And how do you know if a food is anti-inflammatory? And I think we talked about this yesterday. Number one is that you will look for rich colors, bright, colorful foods like dark leafy greens, berries, deep orange veggies are often loaded with anti inflammatory compounds like antioxidants and phytochemicals. The healthy fats, these are fats that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So we've talked about that. Flaxseed, walnuts, chia seeds are also excellent anti-inflammatory fighters. Inflammation and fighters, anti-inflammatories. And we want to look for whole, unprocessed foods. So a whole plant food diet is really where you're going to get your anti-inflammatory foods. Your processed foods like your refined sugars and unhealthy fats are what are going to promote inflammation. So by focusing on a diet that's full of vibrant plant-based whole foods, you are giving your body the tools it needs to fight inflammation naturally. And there's solid research behind this. In a study that was published in the Journal of Nutrition, it showed that diets rich in anti inflammatory foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains lead to significantly lower levels of inflammation in the body. Researchers found that these foods help to reduce markers like CRP, which is that C reactive protein, which is a common indicator of inflammation. And so you might wonder how often you should eat these foods to see a difference. And the answer is that the more consistently you include these whole foods in your meals, the better. Ideally, aim to have some anti inflammatory foods at every meal, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You can put a handful of nuts on something, you can sprinkle some turmeric, you can add a drizzle of olive oil over your salad, and the key is to make it part of your daily routine. And the foods to avoid, these are the inflammation triggers. And these actually are the foods that are, have those good tastes. And so that now that we know what to add to the plate, we're going to seek about what to avoid. And these are the foods that make inflammation worse, acting like gasoline on the fire. And here they are, da 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 da, processed sugars. So foods like candies, baked goods, sugary drinks all spike the blood sugar and trigger an inflammatory response. Our refined carbohydrates fit into this. That's your white bread, pastas, pastries. They can all cause quick spikes in our blood sugar and lead to increased inflammation as well. So when you're talking about processed sugar and all of those things, it's also, you got to think about those refined carbohydrates. And last but not least is trans fats, which is found in fried food and packaged snacks. These are one of the biggest contributors to chronic inflammation. And so we can create anti-inflammatory meals by doing stuff like this. Here's an example. For breakfast, you can make a smoothie packed with spinach, berries, and chia seeds for a boost of antioxidants and omega-3s. For lunch, you could have a hearty salad with leafy greens, some avocado, some walnuts, and a drizzle of olive oil. And for dinner, you could make a stir fry of veggies and make sure that you have some of those beautiful, rich colors like orange and red and green as well. But you can add some turmeric and some ginger to your stir fry and pair it with some quinoa or brown rice. And if you're looking for a snack, you can have a handful of almonds or a sliced apple with a little bit of nut butter. You could do bananas with a little bit of nut butter as well. And we've already covered this, but I do want to, it's so important. When you talk about supplements, can you use supplements to reduce the inflammation? And supplements can help, but they should be used as a bonus and not as a replacement. Whole foods provide a full spectrum of nutrients, fiber, and other compounds that are going to work together in harmony to reduce the inflammation. And so when when you're taking a turmeric supplement, it may be beneficial, but it's also good to include the turmeric in your cooking along with the other anti-inflammatory foods. All right. OJ, any questions on this foods?
Yeah, I do have a question. So you mentioned that we have a proportion of nuts we can eat, You said we can eat too much of it. So what's the best proportion of nuts to eat to fight
Uh,
inflammation?
A small handful, a small
Okay.
handful. I mean,
All right.
I think hopefully you get full on the nuts, but don't eat too many. And also start with raw nuts. You can get nuts that are dry roasted or roasted, and they have salt on them. Uh, Try and stay away from those. You can uh, bake your own. And what I do is you could take almonds or you could take cashews. You can bake them on a tray. Probably takes about 10 minutes at 350 to bake them. And once you start smelling the beautiful aroma, that's probably a good sign that they're ready. And they taste so much better when you take the raw nuts and you bake them yourself over buying them packaged already. So I'm always looking for raw nuts over already oven roasted or the roasted nuts. But that's a good question. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So let's finish it off today and just kind of wrap it up. We've done a deep dive on anti-inflammatory foods. And remember, the choices you make in your kitchen every day can either help reduce inflammation or they can make it work. So your challenge that we've been talking about this week is to try adding at least one anti-inflammatory food to every meal, whether it's adding some ginger to your tea, throwing some spinach in a smoothie, or tossing some garlic in your stir fry. I like that one. Try something new. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and make some comments about what anti inflammatory foods you're adding to your meals. We will see you tomorrow for another session in our 90 Days to Cancer Resilience series. And until then, stay resilient.